We're at the home of everything Frederick, which is 401 North Market Street in downtown. I'm with Paul Jantzen,
Hi.
the author of Sour Apples.
Yes.
Yeah, I met you at Tree Trekkers at the Climbing for a Cause event.
Yes.
And you told me that you're now a writer.
I am a writer.
You are a writer.
So I'm actually, I consider myself an author now.
An author.
Because
okay. What's the difference?
When you get published, I think you can call yourself an author. Before then, you just have to write.
You're just writing. You're writing. You're not authoring. Right? Now you're official and you're authoring.
Exactly.
You tell me a little bit about this book, and then we're going to talk about the journey of, because this is like published, you're published. This is not self-published like a lot of people do. No shade on the people who are self-publishing, but you got a publisher who liked the book, and I would love to talk about that process. But first, the process of why did you want to write a book?
When I grew up, I had an aunt and uncle who would always come to visit, and my mom and dad and my aunt and uncle would get together and they would just tell stories, and the aunt and uncle would just get loud and the stories got boisterous and the energy in the room was just like incredible.
Yeah.
And I kind of was paying attention to that and I loved that. And then I took to storytelling the best I could, and I noticed I would gather a little bit of attention from it. And so I really wanted to get my story out there.
Yeah.
And I've got plenty of stories in my head. Some of them are just completely made up, and some of them have some things to do with my growing up. But
sure.
For the most part, I wanted to be able to tell a story with that same kind of energy and have that same kind of audience.
It's their engagement, right? They're just attentiveness. Exactly. Yeah, that's really cool. And I'm sure people watching, there are people in our lives that you go, oh my God, they can tell the best stories. Like just the way, my sister is one of them.
Right?
Hers are hilarious, and she intersperses just hilarity, and you can never retell it the same. And when you say, oh, you had to be there, or she's got to tell it, or you've got to tell it, I'm sure it's the same.
So sometimes it gets better every time you tell it.
It does get, sometimes those stories do get better.
But once it gets printed, there it is.
That's
it's done.
No more changes.
Right.
So speaking of that, the process of getting an editor and having them maybe edit or suggest, how was that?
This time around, it was really easy.
Okay.
And everything kind of seemed to fall into place for me. My very first novel that I wrote, I had 30 some rejections from either agents or publishers, and that was 20 years ago. And that was when you put a stamp on the letter and mailed it.
Ah, yeah.
And then you'd get back a form letter saying, hey, thank you very much. No, thank you.
We appreciate.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So this time around, I thought, I want to get back into my writing. I've had it on the shelf for a while. So let's start that process. And I started to query publishers. And I went to small publisher, I did some research, and I went to the small ones. And Black Rose Writing, who did pick me up, they originally rejected me. And they gave me a form letter saying, try a professional editor, try a...
so they gave you at least pointers on what could have made it better.
Well, no, they never read anything in my book. They only read the query letter. You get a one-page query letter to sell your book. Yes. Sometimes they'll do a query letter and they'll say send 10 pages.
Okay.
But this was a query letter, and that was all I had.
Gotcha.
And they said, no, thank you. But they suggested I get a professional editor. And I thought, you know what? That might be a great learning experience, because English is not, it's my only language, but it is not, I'm not great at it.
Yeah.
Don't know where the commas go. I'm still learning. But I figured, let's take it another step and try to learn more about the writing process and maybe polish my novel for other publishers and see what happens. And my editor, she really, I joke, I call her Edward Scissorhands, because she really got in there and was like, okay. And I had to rewrite like the first 30 pages, and then I had to rewrite another section of the book because it was getting winded and everything. But she made my story so much better, read so much faster and smoother. And when it was all done, she said, "You know, I really loved your story enough that I want to, at least I'm going to knock on the door and say, hey, I just edited Paul Jantzen's work. Would you consider looking at it again?" And they did. And then, so I had to fill out the same query information online, put all that information in there. But I knew not to just be very vague about stuff. And I was learning along the way how to answer some of their questions a little bit better. And then they said, go ahead and send your manuscript. And so I did. And I waited, and 3 weeks later, I had a contract in the mail.
That's pretty cool.
It was very cool.
So they were very right on the get the editor, and good for her on liking it and taking it forward. That's great.
Exactly. Yeah. So
kudos to her. Who's your editor?
Mary Ellen Bromwell.
I just want to give her a little shout out because they're like the definitely behind the scenes people.
Yes.
Tell us about the story.
Okay. Sour Apples is about a young boy. In 1975, he has to defend his fort from unwanted dwellers. So on 3 separate occasions, people move into his fort. And I can't say that it's not because of things that he did that he has new tenants. But he had 3 situations where he had to kick out people. And during the summer, he plays baseball, and he was dealing with a first crush. So, but what he was learning along the way was that decisions have consequences. So no matter what you pick, A or B, door 1 or door 2, you're going.
Comes with something. Each comes with something. Very cool.
And so he did a lot of growing up doing that.
Yeah, that's very cool. This one kind of based on your life, or this one?
So, no. So I played baseball. I'm left-handed. Jimmy plays baseball. He's left-handed.
Those things. The easy things.
Yes, and there's a couple of incidences, like some stuff that happened out in the woods that actually was part of my childhood. But for the most part, what I like to do with a character like that is just take a little bit of something about me and then let him grow his own life.
That's pretty good.
I do that with all my characters. Some of them I don't even use. I said, like Dave in the book, he's one of Jimmy's best friends. He has he's kind of cool. He can talk to the girls, kind of like Dr. Doolittle could talk to the animals. Yep. And so anyway, I couldn't do that, but I wish I could. So I took that. And I made a character.
You made a character out of maybe who you wanted to be. Or who you emulated in school. Yep. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So how many books now?
So 1 published. 3 have been written. But the way I'm going to do this now is Sour Apples is book 1. Just a Bitter Taste is book 2. And Just a Bitter Taste is done. It's ready to be submitted. I'm waiting for the direction that I want to take that. I'm not sure if I want to try to step up and find a larger publisher, but I don't know yet.
So now you're still working a 9-to-5er.
I do.
Yeah. What do you do there?
So I'm a building engineer. So I work for Rupert Properties. You'll see them around town. They're pretty big. Their landscaping company is also part of that.
What is one thing you hope to achieve, over the next 6 to 12 months, like with your writing or editing or any of that?
So 6 to 12, I would like to have at least an agent or a contract for book 2. Book 1, it's slowly gaining traction, but not enough to catch anybody's attention.
And the audience, the target audience for this book is?
Young adult.
Okay.
And so I had a 5th grade teacher read it to her 10 and 11-year-olds, and she said it was completely appropriate. Now Sour Apples has a couple curse words in it, and I will disclaim that, especially like if I'm doing a signing and I'm talking
I've been to elementary schools. The 10 and 11-year-olds probably are,
right?
Yeah, but
Exactly. So the only curse words it's when nothing else can be said.
Yeah.
It's like it has to be said, and it would be true for them to say it at that time. And there's just a few in there like that.
Yeah.
So this and so they're categorized as young adult, which is like 12 or 13 to 18, but 10 and 11-year-olds, any younger than that, mom wants to read it to the kid, you know, and then she can gloss over what words she doesn't want her
she can
kid
choose.
to hear.
Right. You can choose. So, I love it for sure. Well, Paul, we appreciate you being part of our community and making it more interesting with your books.